at-risk youth, and I said, you know what, being a police officer, I can reach people. I can also help them see someone from Panama City, grew up in the same neighborhoods they're in, that you do not have to go down the path of destruction. And I wanted to improve the relationships that my community had with law enforcement. That's why I joined, and that's why I am willing to be a part of any changes that needs to be done in the city. I think becoming a police officer with Panama City, I love my agency. There are wonderful officers I work with, and I could go and say we have great officers. This community might not realize that, but we are very fortunate, as well as all the other agencies I had to work with. I'm here, happy that I got the invite, and looking forward to any conversation we can have.
I just want to say that these folks, except for Mr. Rahim, obviously has done the speaking time or two, have said,
This is Janice Lucas. She ran for state representative one time.
Especially Officer Carter, I just want to compliment you on your speech that you gave to us. Please welcome now my nephew, Barrett Jackson.
Yes, Barrett Jackson. Good evening. Well, I am a native of Panama City. I was raised here in Bay County since the age of 3. Captain Smiley, we first crossed paths when I was probably about knee high. And following that, I later met Lieutenant Cooper at Bay High. Bay High, Trout Bay High, I know myself. And after taking the scenic route from college, I returned home and began working with the Bay County Sheriff's Office in public service. I became a law enforcement officer because I enjoyed helping. One thing I'm seeing today, I think there's a lot of divisiveness, and I think what's lost in the competing viewpoints is that we have common ground.
The microphone. Grab it, pull it up to your mouth. Don't pull it out of there. There you go.
That we have common ground. And so, with that being said, we all have families that live here in Bay County. We all love Bay County, and we all want to see our children grow up safe and secure. We want to live and work and play and enjoy that Bay County has to offer. One thing that troubles me, and I think that troubles many, is that one thing I'm sensing in this narrative is that you're either pro-law enforcement or pro-civil liberties, when these are not exclusive thoughts. You can carry them together in the same basket. And just having that mindset and framing conversations beginning there is a great way to find that shared space and move conversations going forward into a more productive area.
Okay, you're done. If you ask me as the timekeeper, then all right. Now we have community member Alfredo Brown.
Good afternoon. Good evening. My story is a little different. I am an implant to Panama City. I'm here from New York City. I've been in the Air Force, retired from the Air Force 23 years, similar to other gentlemen in here that served their country. And I see many faces in the crowd I know that are military, retired. I have been a victim of law enforcement. My victimization came at the hands of my godfather, who was also a state trooper. But not the same as what we see going on now. I fit the description, just being black with a bunch of other gentlemen walking. This was in Brooklyn, New York, so it's not here in Panama City. Brooklyn, in New York, where we've been stopped and frisked before stopped and frisked was even put in, before it was legal. We got stopped, looking for guns, looking for drugs, just for them to come up empty-handed. I've been incarcerated because I was waiting in front of my mother's building for a friend of mine's wife to take her food shopping. Detective came through and said, "Hey, y'all need to leave." We're like, "Come on, man, you serious? We waiting on my man's wife to come to our fence. We take food shopping." They cross the building, trying to get a drug dealer, comes back down, come around. "Okay, fine, you guys are on the pad wagon." "Okay, fine." We go to jail, we sing all the little "nobody knows" and all that stuff. We were clowning inside jail because we know we did nothing. So we have nothing to fear. They release us, no biggie. Fast forward, I join the military. I leave Brooklyn, New York. I'm traveling all over the world. I happen to be driving from Brooklyn down to North Carolina to see a friend. I get pulled over because guess what? I fit the description once again. Okay, no problem. I was raised with an authoritarian mother, so I know how to talk when it comes to law enforcement, when it comes to adults, when it comes to anyone that is older than me. So, with that being said, got out the car, did the Macarena, you know, hands up. And, you know, they actually cuffed me, took me to the jailhouse, and 3 hours later, I got released because, of course, it wasn't me. But I ran someone off the road. But yet my car had no dents at all. Look, I had to put all my biases aside and say, hey, these guys are trying to do a job. Make it as easy as you can for law enforcement to do their job. There's no reason for you to get lippy when a police officer pulls you over. He's doing just like you. He's trying to make it back home. If the tent is too dark, roll the window down. Turn the light on inside the car. So when they approach from the rear, they can see you pose no threat. Put your hands on the steering wheel. Yes, ma'am. No, sir. Not what the F you pull me over for. That is the wrong way to start a conversation when it comes to someone with a gun who doesn't know the situation at hand if you pose a threat to them or you do not. There is no reason why a lot of us do not just do what we're asked to do. There's no reason why. There's no excuses. And just like the corporate, 23 years, and therefore, I did my 23 years too. So I know I've been yelled at by my mother worse than most cops in here could yell at me. And my mother's 5'11". Okay? I am 6'6", 280 something pounds. It's just a matter of now, with you getting the mental picture of how big and how much I weigh. This young police officer right here, who might have just, I don't know, might have just graduated, or this young lady right here, who might have just graduated from the academy. How exactly is she going to deal with me if I don't show her that I pose no threat? Okay? She might not have in her tool baskets, or he might not have this tool basket on how to talk a person down from that particular level to where he will absolutely do what I want him to do, or her to do. So just keep that in mind when these individuals get out on the street. It is okay to say yes ma'am, no sir, and just do what you're asked to do. That's pretty much all I have to say. Besides, it's not just Black Lives Matter, it's all lives matter. God created all of us.
I'm going to stop here and say nothing.
The next community member we have, and the last one for this evening, is Mr. James Burnett.
How is everyone this evening? Good. My name is James Burnett. I don't have a big story like everyone else. Basically, what inspired me is my barber is in here. I won't point him out, but we had a couple conversations, and he actually came into my place of employment and wanted to see me. I had to do a service for him. I was working with a customer, and when he came in, I told the customer I was with, hey, I'm going to jump in with him right now. It's going to take you about 15 more minutes. Let me get him taken care of, and then I'll get right back to you. So as he was walking out, I'm like, hey, when are you working again? I'm going to come by and see you. I got to get a fresh fade. That's just the type of haircut that I get, and that's what I've always gotten. And she later asked me, and I even think he overheard the conversation where she said, you aren't from here, are you? Which, no, I'm not from Bay County. I'm originally from North Carolina. But has anyone ever asked themselves, why are there police? Whenever I was having this conversation with my barber, I like to think a lot. I like to do extensive research into any problem that I talk about. So some of the three biggest points that I took away from, roughly in the 1800s, economic elites created armed police forces to break up strikes, disperse protests, capture runaway slaves, and stop the revolts from happening. They also established not to stop individual crimes, but to protect the property and power of the rich, which makes sense. But unfortunately today, some of those founding causes is what's causing some of the problems that I personally see. And I'm an outsider looking in, so I can only imagine how other individuals feel. I feel like using repression to maintain the status quo needs to be eliminated. There needs to be some type of change. Like I said, I'm just an outsider looking in, and as I was talking to my barber, the impression that I feel like he has and most other African Americans have is, if I stop cursing, if I stop being ghetto, or if I pull up my pants, or if maybe I didn't have this type of look, maybe I would be treated better or not be victims of police brutality. I'm not condoning bad behavior in any means, but unfortunately, history proves otherwise. Unfortunately, African Americans, when they did pull up their pants, when they were saying yes sir, we saw what happened with that. So now it's time to ask the question, are they the problem or is the system the problem?
Let's give a round of applause for all of us. Sorry, we missed somebody. Okay, all right.